We do this once in a while. Drop a Mars man, drop a Moon man, drop a Saturn man, like Trey McBride. And then some sort of news, some sort of ADP information, some sort of something makes me file back in, almost an emergency style, to tell you why we've got to do it all over again. Because for some reason, Trey McBride is being slept on like I can't believe. I can't fathom what's going on. I thought maybe it was a day glitch on the Underdog Fantasy promo code Smitty. Make sure you hit the link in the description. I'll drop it in a second. We'll maybe even draft at the end of this show. So use code Smitty, use the link. I thought maybe it was just a one day kind of like the ADP wasn't settled yet. Trey McBride is going at 80 overall. It's not even self-correcting. People that are drafting him are continuing to leave him right there. Don't go out there. I urge you, don't go out there and take him in the 40s or 50s and ruin this. I don't understand what's happening. I don't understand what's happening. This is one of the bigger steals in fantasy football 2024 if it stands the way it is. 80 overall. Trey McBride, 80 overall. What in the hell is going on? He's a moon man, for goodness sakes.
He's on a shuttle to Mars. Mars man.
We're here to do it all over again. The Mars Man repeat edition. No, it's not a rerun. It's just we need to hammer home that this is win a league material. The fantasy football show begins right now.
From the FantasyFootballShow.com studios, it's the Fantasy Football Show live Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Smitty is also live whenever news breaks.
From the FantasyFootballShow.com news desk, here is your breaking news.
I don't get it. I'm really baffled right now in a good way. I mean, this is all good news. Like who wants their favorite players to go really high? But it's head scratching. You're looking at the ADP data on Underdog Fantasy right now, and it's unbelievable that he's not above all these guys except for Laporta. Really, like you could make arguments that maybe you think in Dynasty Kincaid or I don't know. That's the only thing I can think of here. Kincaid or Bowers are ahead of McBride in Dynasty because you have some weird theory about how Kyler's going to collapse or some kind of weird story. But the weird part is this guy delivered no matter who his quarterback was. He had a quarterback carousel going on, and he was delivering with every single quarterback that got in there. And he doesn't just do it. And this is no offense to Hockenson, who I think Hockenson's a great player. He was a player I had ranked higher than anybody in the entire fantasy industry that's documented. That's not me just throwing out a stupid little prediction that no one can validate. It was a ranking competition. Your boy had Hockenson higher than anybody in the entire fantasy industry in a rankings contest with hundreds and hundreds of experts. I was the only one that had him even remotely as high as I did coming into his second year. I love Hockenson, but I'm about to crap on Hockenson in a way that makes this man look like just a marvel. Because Hockenson, when you watch him, he plays aggressive. He plays good. He plays good football. He feels like a player that's very good when he has a good system and a good quarterback, and he can deliver. He can kind of be open. He can kind of linger around. This guy is different. This guy's running routes, just manhandling people left and right. And when the Niners faced the Cardinals, I had my Niner pals, the boys, Raj, those guys texted me, McBride's going to be a problem for many years to come. We have no answer for McBride. He's aggressive. He'll do whatever it takes. This is like a wide receiver. And I really don't understand what in the hell's going on with this ADP. Because even if you had, let's say you were nostalgic and you're like, I'll go ahead and I like Kelsey. I'll go ahead and take Kelsey in and this is 2024 ADP. This is 2024. Those drafts are already up. We've drafted a lot already. This is 2024 ADP. And let me just pull up another draft just to confirm right now. In fact, let me pull up an Underdog Fantasy draft that's going on right this very second. I just took Laporta in a draft right here. I'm going to go over to the tight end rankings. McBride, 80.2. I just wanted to confirm. I didn't look at something wrong. 80.2. 80.2. 80.2. That is insane. He's tight end number 2. You could argue 3 if you want to get crazy. Whatever. Tight end 2. This guy's going to win leagues at 80. And maybe not all of us are going to benefit from this because he starts looking good. Buzz starts, kicking in. We start as a community not being responsible with that information, and we go out and draft him in the 60s because we just want him. And our community is going to ruin the ADP by about half of that advantage. But at some point, the cat's out of the bag. I don't understand why it's not out of the bag yet. I don't really care. I don't. Look, C-Mac says McBride. That's me. Hey, C-Mac, tell everybody the truth. How much of a problem you saw this man go up against your Niners, C-Mac? How big of a problem is McBride going to be for the NFL? Be completely honest. It's okay. You got a team full of studs. You don't have to feel bad about pumping up one of the Cardinal players, please. But be honest. How big of a problem is this guy? He's a problem. And for some crazy, dumb reason, nobody seems to know it. And these are a lot of hardcore, people that draft, and max out all their underdog tournaments. These are ballers throwing $5, $10, $25 a pop at every single one of these hundreds and hundreds of drafts. This isn't a casual Caleb in a mock draft quitting by round 5 to start another one. This isn't a bunch of no-namer people that just go into drafts that you don't even know who they are. These are people with tons of drafts to their name. And when I go into a draft and I see across the board there's badges, the highest badge I think is the red badge. So when you have that badge, you've drafted in thousands of drafts. You can tell who you're drafting with. And right now, only the serious ballers are drafting. No casuals going in and drafting in January. A casual is going to go, why would I draft in January? What if there's an injury? Scared money, it makes money or it doesn't make money? I don't understand what I'm doing here. I'm not going to draft in January, Smitty. I'm a casual Caleb. Only ballers are drafting right now. Only ballers are drafting right now, which means that this value is more true probably than it would be if a bunch of casual Calebs were mixed in August. Now, I do believe the cat will be out of the bag by then, and you'll see him slowly climb up. And the one thing about ADP, he'll be top 5 if healthy. Kyler looked great when targeting him too. McBride to the moon. Thank you for the honesty, C-Mac. My boy C-Mac, can cause waves at times over on Instagram. So if you want to watch a wave crash, go watch C-Mac. Appreciate you, my guy. I really think at some point, look, you see him here, it makes you want to draft him there. That's a natural instinct you have as a drafter. Don't want to reach above ADP. Let me continue to pile on bad ADP upon bad ADP. And that kind of holds him down. But at some point, we're going to see McBride go to 4. And then he's going to go to tight end 3. And then he's going to eventually settle in as tight end number 2 behind Laporta. And that's it. That's it. There's no arguing it. There's no I think, any sort of debate in August by any means. I don't think anybody's coming in and saying, oh, it's going to be Kelsey for one more year. It will be McBride. It will be McBride. He's an absolute monster. And of course, Okafor, when do you ever come in with an agree? You don't agree on anything. You don't agree on anything. There's a chance he's 3rd in targets on the Cardinals, Smitty. Oh, thank you, Okafor. I had no idea. Thank you for coming in and educating me. I didn't know, Okafor, that you knew more than I did about this topic. Number 3. What are you talking about, Okafor? Who in the hell's catching passes in Arizona? Maybe they bring in Marvin Harrison Jr. That's certainly in the cards. But who is catching passes over him? Do tell me right now, currently, who is ahead of him? Okafor. This is the number one pass catcher in Arizona. And even if MHJ comes over, there are certain number of targets that a tight end's going to get that aren't even in the competition pool and target pool, bro. This is not, what are you talking about? You're just here to disagree like you always do. You're always in here disagreeing no matter what the show's about. You come in with your backwards thinking. Let's go to the Planet Uranus list. Let's grab this comment and put it over there. Let's go over there and see what comment. I forget what comment you have over there, but it's probably sitting there. Oh, with nice and warmed up. Let's see. Okafor. Where is Okafor's comment?
Known as Uranus.
Let's see. Here's one. It's hiding. Gibbs is cooked, Smitty. Oh, yeah. Hey, everybody. Let's take Okafor's advice here, who told us what? Week 3, week 4, Gibbs is cooked, Smitty. Let's go back to that.
And off he goes to the planet known as Uranus.
Let's go back to that. Does he have another one? Let's see if there's another one here. Didn't you also say, where's your Jordan Love? Jordan loves garbage, Smitty. Jordan loves garbage, Smitty. What about that one, Okafor? What about all the other ones that we put on the board? Do we need to put this one on the board? There's a chance he's third in target, Smitty. Trying to defend why he's number 80 overall, Okafor. Number 80 overall. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. We got some news. Let's go back to the news. That's not the news. This is
From the fantasyfootballshow.com news desk, here is your breaking news.
Gibbs is cooked. What are you talking about, bro? Let's get into this news. There's not a ton of it, but there is some relevant news. And let's start off with this one right here. Mike McDonald, defensive coordinator for the Baltimore Ravens, is going to be the new Seahawks head coach, which is fantastic. It's what I've been predicting for, well over a month almost now. So this was right here. The only one I got wrong as of late is I thought that Ben Johnson was a shoo-in for Adam Peters as head coach over in Washington. This monster. If C-Mac's still in here, he can tell you how amazing this man Adam Peters is. How phenomenal he is. That this is probably one of the best, you could say, best pieces of movement for a team. The best addition for a team quietly the entire offseason, potentially. What this guy's going to be able to do in Washington, what this guy's going to be able to cultivate in Washington is going to be unbelievable, because this man is part architect of George Kittle. Who knows how much he had to do with the Niners' favorite Brock Purdy, their darling right now. Who knows how much he had to do with so much of Ayuk and everything else. This is their mastermind scout. He knows what he's doing. He knows personnel. He's going to make sure he brings in the best option. And dare I say, if Dan Quinn, who has had his second interview, and I believe Dan Quinn, if I had to predict, I've predicted a lot of these to a T. The next up, and I missed on Ben Johnson because they were able to lure him back in, and that was fantastic news. Ben Johnson staying in Detroit is probably the best news we've heard aside from Adam Peters. Ben Johnson. No, actually, I'm sorry. Ben Johnson staying in Detroit. Raheem Morris with Zach Robinson in Atlanta. Mixed with, mind you, Adam Peters in Washington are all tied. Those are all tied. Ben Johnson, Adam Peters, and the duo right here, Raheem Morris and Zach Robinson, those are equally the three best things that have happened the entire offseason. The cascading effect from this is insane. Absolute. This deserves a toot of the horn. No doubt about it. This deserves a toot of the horn right now. There's no way someone can convince me that the three best things that have happened the entire offseason aren't those three things. And Adam Peters will bring in, as I predict, now that Ben Johnson's off the table, Dan Quinn, who is in the same situation here as this little package right here, this little couple over here, this absolute marvel of a couple right here between Zach Robinson and Raheem Morris. Defensive mind, bring in an amazing offensive mind. Let the defense get completely revamped. Dan Quinn will be perfect for this, and I believe in Adam Peters to do exactly what Raheem Morris did, which was bring in Zach Robinson, and now you have the LA Rams right here. The LA Falcons are sitting right here, or the Atlanta Rams are sitting right here in front of you. And again, this is no detriment to McVay, because McVay was the creator of this offspring shoot right here. These two guys were offspring of McVay. He can replicate. He can do it all again. McVay will be fine. Kyron will be fine. Puka will be fine. Cooper Kupp will be fine. Stafford will be fine. It's all going to be replicated. McVay is that way. Just like Shanahan replicated Miami Mike McDaniel, lost Miami Mike McDaniel, huge kick to the nads. Didn't really matter that much because the coaching tree Shanahan creates great coaching trees. And so Mike McDaniel was fantastic. He went over, he's doing great things. He hasn't cracked the code yet, but he's doing amazing things. He's building something special, and it comes from Shanahan. Shanahan can replicate that. You know who couldn't replicate? Campbell. Campbell couldn't replicate what Ben Johnson's doing. He didn't create all that. Ben Johnson's staying is a marvel. It's a marvel, as is this situation here, as is what will be this situation here. I don't care if it's Dan Quinn. I'm not scared of Dan Quinn. I'm not thinking Dan Quinn's out there creating the offense. It's going to be somebody like, God, it would be amazing if it was Munkin, but we're not hearing that. We're hearing a little buzz of Belichick. I don't think that's going to happen. We got another piece of news on Belichick up in the corner. But Mike Macdonald, fantastic news at the end of the day, I think, for Seattle. And we'll have a similar situation there. That's going to be good. Very, 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 very good coach. I think these defensive head coaches, they won't all work out, but this is not a bad formula if it's set up properly. If it's supported properly. It's almost like having two head coaches in a way. The way I look at this Rams, this Atlanta Rams situation is we got essentially, in my mind, two head coaches. You got a defensive-minded players coach where this entire Rams team absolutely went to bat for Raheem Morris. They all did. They all said he's amazing. Everybody went to bat for him, and everybody running their mouth about how he's no good. He failed in Tampa Bay. Keep talking about the past. Keep acting like somebody can't improve. Keep acting like you know what happened so many years ago when everybody and their mother, top to bottom in this organization, is saying Raheem Morris is going to be amazing. This is DeMeco Ryans right here. This is the same situation. Houston's doing it. Atlanta's going to do it. Washington's probably going to do it. Seattle's going to do it. Maybe they don't all work out. But it's not a horrible formula. Defensive-minded head coach, bring in an offensive guru. You're rolling with two masterminds, not just a coach that's got, an itchy trigger finger and a God complex that won't let the coordinator do his job. This is what you want. This is what you want for Washington. At the end of the day, this is what you want for Atlanta, and so on. So that's that piece of news. Mike McDonald, congratulations on being head coach, pal. You deserve it. We got 100 people in here and only 40 thumbs up. If you guys could punch that thumb up button for your boy, I would greatly appreciate it. This piece of news here, Russell Wilson, an NFC executive told ESPN, Jeremy Fowler, that Russell Wilson could be traded to the Raiders this offseason. We talked about this when we look at the NFL draft order. It makes it easy to really digest what's going on and what teams have what pick and who could go after a quarterback in the draft. We're hearing a lot of buzz from the Senior Bowl that really there's, Penix Jr. and Bo Nix are falling down a little bit. McCarthy's climbing up. There's a lot of weird buzz out. And so you have an opportunity for the 12 pick, the 16 pick, maybe even second round draft selections to maybe get one elite quarterback that's in the top 5. But I still think Penix Jr. is going to rise in value. If he doesn't, he'll be a steal for somebody. I think the Falcons it would be amazing if they don't get Russell Wilson, who isn't the best thing since sliced bread. We know that, but he's 10,000 times better than what they had. Cortland Sutton, look at what he did. I think Drake London will go off if he had Russell Wilson and Zach Morris's or Zach Robinson's offense. I really do believe that. But I think at the end of the day, this rumor about Las Vegas getting him. There could be like a pick swap. There could be an additional pick maybe in the second round, like going to swap 12 and 13. Something like that. I don't know. It's gonna be tough to know. Like they swap 12 and 13, you give them a couple seconds, and or potentially. And I know Las Vegas would be moving up. I'm just saying there could be some kind of complex like first round draft selection, future first round conditional type thing involved. I don't know. To eat a lot of the salary, eat a lot of his salary. What are you going to do? How can we make this complicated? There could be some sort of trade going on. Honestly, I believe maybe a second rounder. A second rounder could probably be something that gets Russell Wilson off of the Denver Broncos squad. He could be cut. He really could be cut. The problem is the dead cap is huge, but they trade him. There's a cap hit. So, like, what do? You try and get something for him or you cut him, but a lot of teams probably won't want to trade for him. That's why I think there's going to be some sort of crazy trade involved. Like, hey, I'm not saying it's logical for the Denver Broncos to move down, but I'm just throwing out like spitballing ideas. Like you say, hey, we'll take on a majority of this contract, pal. We'll take on a majority of this contract, but you need to do this for us, and then we'll give you this conditional pick. We'll do this, we'll do that. I don't know what it's going to cost. It's almost like you got to pay somebody to take Russell Wilson off your roster. It's going to involve some kind of crazy conditional pick. A second rounder for a guy who could get cut. It all comes down to, Huffman, what the competition is going to be for Russell Wilson. There are a lot of teams that need a quarterback. Maybe it's a third rounder. I'm not necessarily trying to define it. I'm just saying if there was a second rounder involved, some sort of like pick swap, some conditional picks, everything's going to be conditional, Huffman. So if it's a second rounder, it'd probably be a conditional second rounder. You know what I'm saying? You're giving a second rounder to the Denver Broncos if Russell Wilson gets them to the playoffs or if they win X number of games. So conditionals are absolutely, the way to go. So it'd be a third or fourth conditional to a second. You know what I'm saying? It's second rounder wouldn't necessarily be something that would 100% be afforded to him. But Russell Wilson, where will he be? What's this piece of news? Bill Belichick report that the Eagles have interest in former head coach Bill Belichick. But I think this is if they're saying that if Bill Belichick hangs around for a while and let's say Sirianni fails this year. It's not this year, but there is some weird interest in him. And, that's not good for Sirianni. He's going to be looking over his shoulder. Najee Harris, Steelers owner Art Rooney, said that Steelers offense should go through Harris and Warren, the foundation of the offense. This is probably a true statement. They want to run the ball. Look, as much as we hate Arthur Smith, he has had success running the ball, but I'm not going to bank on it. I'm going to have nothing to do with the Steeler offense. Number one, I don't believe in Pickett. If, let's say, the Steelers go and get some sort of quarterback upgrade, then at that point, I might jump back on board and say, like, I like Jaylen Warren if his ADP's here. I like Pickens maybe if his ADP's here. But they'd have to be bargains. There's no way I'm going near any sort of Steeler player unless they have a better quarterback. Because here's the bottom line. Is what is the last thing we saw Arthur Smith do? Absolutely screw up a team, an offense, usage of a player, almost ruining Bijan Robinson's breakout year. Like, it really did. I mean, he was running back 9, but he really stunted his growth to some degree. Like, he screwed up everything. The last thing we've seen is Arthur Smith not handle a quarterback situation, screw that up, not understand who's the best quarterback, not understand who's the best running back. Now, he goes over and he's going to play under Tomlin's thumb in Pittsburgh. So Tomlin's going to have a lot to say, a lot to convince him. A lot of orders will be given to Arthur Smith. He can't just do what he wants. He can't cry and complain. Maybe he'll pout and scream and kick and yell. Who knows? Or maybe he'll shut up and take orders. And if he's in in the confines of what he's been successful at when he's been, got tunnel vision and focus, it's possible he could kickstart some sort of run game. But my guess is that we're probably seeing a running back by committee. My guess is we're probably seeing a similar divide that we saw in Atlanta using both Jaylen Warren and Najee Harris. And if you think that's not going to be true, that maybe Tomlin will tell him you're running Najee, this report right here is just one of many, and this coming from Steelers owner himself, that it's going to run through the two running backs. You're being told by the owner that a running back by committee is getting installed here or reinstalled. And led by a man that proved he wanted to run a three-man committee. So even if it does go through the run game, you're left at the mercy of which one's in there, which one goes off, hot hand approach. And I honestly want nothing to do with that. As much as I love Jaylen Warren, I will take him, scoop him up, and hold him. And if he's a late pick, and just hope that he rises to the top. Maybe Najee gets injured, and then it's Jaylen Warren and only Jaylen Warren. And even Arthur Smith can't screw that up too badly if he's not given any options to be a head coach. He's a horrible head coach. And I want nothing to do with him, but there is some potential, but not for Pickens. Certainly not for Deontay. Deontay requires so many targets to pull in X number of receptions. He's not going to get those. He'll be inconsistent. Pickens, you'll have Pickens in one game, then you'll put him on the bench like Ridley last year, but probably times two. You'll have Pickens on your bench when he blows up. You'll put him in the lineup for 2 or 3 games. He'll absolutely suck and not get production, and then all of a sudden you'll be like, okay, I'm putting him on the bench, and then he blows up. I don't think the passing attack, if they don't upgrade their quarterback, I don't think it can survive. If they go get Russell Wilson, if they draft Penix Jr., and even then, I don't know that I like that, because I don't know that Penix Jr. will thrive in an Arthur Smith system. I don't think he will. I don't want anybody going there. I know this is hard to hear for Ron and Pittsburgh Steelers fans, but I'd rather leave this alone and let it take down these players versus let other players get involved, and then it takes down more players. I don't want Penix Jr. or Bo Nix getting wrapped up into this situation. I just don't. If it happens, I'll upgrade Pickens a little bit. I'll upgrade this offense a little bit. But for right now, it's a total avoid for me. I don't care what kind of track record we can dig up in piecemeal together about Arthur Smith in Tennessee. Oh, he did good here. He did good there. Well, guess what? He showed incompetence from top to bottom last year, and I'm not ready to forgive that. If we're not going to forgive Bill Belichick for that, why are we going to forgive Arthur Smith for that? So I'm out. Geno Smith, $12.7 million in 2024. Base salary becomes guaranteed February 16. That means they're going to learn very, very soon whether the Seahawks plan to run it back with a third season with Smith as their starter. I don't think they want this guy as their starter, but do I think they take the risk that they don't upgrade him? 16 is a hell of a ways down on the draft board here, but as noted earlier, you've got a couple QBs getting talked down right now. Senior Bowl, people saying that McCarthy's climbing up to QB3, and so there's an opportunity to still get one of those QBs like Penix Jr. or potentially Bo Nix at 16. You also have the opportunity to maybe try and do some sort of trade or try and go get Justin Fields. If it was me, I'd surrender the 16 overall for Justin Fields in a heartbeat, in a millisecond. Wouldn't that be crazy if Seattle's like, okay, Pete Carroll's gone. Hey, Russell Wilson, you want to come back? I guess I would say that logic tells you that they might keep him, but also try and replace him at the same time. That way they're not left with their pants down if they let this man, go and decide to roll with an unknown situation and they can't fill the void. It might be safer to say $12.7 million. Might become one of the most expensive backups in the league, but that's just the way the NFL is. And better to be safe than sorry. Tough to know. That, I believe, is all of the news at the current moment, I believe. For those of you that missed it, McBride, who we've already celebrated as a Mars man.
He's on a shuttle to Mars. Mars man.
needs a refresh video because he's coming in at a ridiculous, unbelievable, absolute filthy looking ADP that makes me just want to draft all of my drafts now and max out everything now if I could. You can't because tournaments that begin later you can't do. But like this is, I'm going to be like, give me Trey McBride in every single draft at 80 overall. 80 overall. 80 overall. Laporta, McBride. That's how it should be. That's how the rankings should be. That's what the ADP should be telling you. This is a go get them now. Go do it now. Don't hesitate. Jump all over it. Trey McBride, 80 overall. Do it live, Smitty. Approved 1,000%.
You've just been Smitty approved.
Okay, I have a couple super chats coming in here. We've got Space Ricky with a $20 hauler. He says, please toot the horn for Kincaid, please. You betcha, pal.
Alert. Super chat alert. Alert. Super chat alert.
This one goes out to, let me see. Let me switch my mics. Testing. This one goes out to Dalton Kincaid. Go get boss horned. Go get Kincaided. Attaboy. Doing it live. McBride. Look at this. Look at this for McBride. Look at this ADP. Every time I see it, I'm shocked. Every time I see it, I don't believe it. Space Ricky, appreciate you dropping the $20 wad on screen. Space Ricky's a monster. Boss Horn. Did we get gifted memberships? Someone said Perps is a maniac. Did Perps drop something crazy? Let me just see what Perps is up to. I don't have that up right now, so let me pull that up so I can see it. I don't have the live stream up, so I can't see that part of it. Let me see what Perps is up to. If you're not doing anything, Perps don't. Yeah, I gifted 20 memberships from Perps. Goodness gracious.
Alert. Super chat alert. Alert. Super chat alert.
Safety first. Safety first. Safety first. Safety first. Perps, you deserve a blast like that when you drop a freaking 20 gifted memberships. I just found out how much that is. I thought they gave them half price when you do a gift like that. Perps has been dropping those for a while. Perps is Saturn. Perps is a monster. Perps, appreciate you. Sorry it took so long to see that. Boss Horn Deckard says, Smitty, that's me. I'm the guy screwing up the ADP on Underdog. Deckard, don't draft McBride high. I know you're gonna do this. Don't do it. Don't do it. Everybody allow him to fall to like 75 at least. Don't be screwing this up and taking him to 60 overall. You're gonna ruin it for everybody. Deckard, please don't. Please don't. Young, Perps is dropping loads in outer space, says Young, appreciate you dropping the super chat. Jeez, Perps. Okay, my wife would never agree to the boss horn. Well, either did Miss Smitty until I said, okay, let's think about this. I approached it like a negotiation, a business negotiation. This is business. This right here is business. Okay? This has nothing to do with personal. I walked in, I said, you said no, I say yes. What do we need to do? She said, I need an iPhone upgrade. My phone keeps dying. The battery is 2 years old. What are we doing here? I said, done. And as I'm walking away, she goes, she knew she could get more. I should have said, let me think about this. Okay, yeah. She goes, as I walk away, she goes, Beats by Dre headphones for the noise. And I said, okay, well, we can do that too. So she's a good negotiator. She's learned from the best. I taught her how to trade negotiation 101. She knows what she's doing. She goes to the fantasy football show where you got articles, trade calculators, bold predictions, And, of course, the trade negotiation videos, all that. Go check it out. TheFantasyFootballShow.com. Trey McBride to the moon. Trey McBride is an absolute monster. Let's open up the phone lines. Thank you for the super chat so far. Boss Horn Deckard, Space Ricky with the $20 Boss Horn Holler, Young with the $2 holler, Boss Horn Deckard with the $2 holler, almost a double Deckard. It's a double Deckard sandwich. Thank you for dropping both those, Deckard. Appreciate you. And Perps dropping the 20 gifted memberships. What an absolute monster. Hit my elbow and my ears at the same time. Dial in.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
Dial in. Let's discuss. Do it live. I really thought this ADP, because we saw this. A couple people called it out when we did our first draft. Like, why is McBride so far? And I thought, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do a video on it if it doesn't change. I thought this is like night one. Who knows? The ADP could be wonky. Like it needs X number of drafts before it totally, takes off. It's using a lot of data from last year to initially create it. And then it needs a certain number of drafts to knock somebody's old ADP data out of the... I don't know what the algorithm is. So I thought maybe this is just whatever. And he has climbed one or two spots. I believe he was below Ingram. He might have been above Njoku, but I think he was one spot down. He's climbed one spot. He was around 83 probably or something like that, if I remember correctly. 82. He's at 80.2 right now. Deckard and everybody out there, DeBalt, don't go drafting this guy in the 50s saying, well, I got him. I want to have him. Let him fall. You'll get him in enough drafts at around 75 to 80 that you'll be fine. Don't go forcing it. Don't go ruining the ADP. Young, you're live. Young, what can I do for you?
What's up, Smitty?
I'm trying the new Prime. Cherry Freeze came out. This is the new flavor. It's brand new. And I drink Prime a lot. And this one's pretty good. I have to say, it's probably second or third favorite. Love the fruit punch. Love the ice pop. And this could very well climb to the number one spot. I like this. Cherry Freeze.
Damn, that sounds like a refreshing beverage, bro.
I mean, it tastes like it has 500 calories and it has 20. It's very strange how this works. And if you're wanting to lose weight and you drink a lot of soda, you drink a lot of whatever, Gatorade, you drink anything really, unless it's water or black coffee, you're taking in calories like mad. This you're taking in 20 a pop. Some of them are 15. And I also bought this when I wanted to try this before I bought a case. I went to a place that has this stuff, by the cases, and I went in. I like, can I grab one? I just want to try it. I'll come back tomorrow and buy a case. He's like, try the Ghost. Ghost is their competition, and they're trying to take them out. This is kiwi strawberry. Let's try this one. I'm gonna see if Ghost is gonna be able to hang.
Ooh, I might have to give it a run, dude.
No, unless they become a sponsor. I can't even sponsor that. I can't even sponsor that. That tastes like trash. How is that the competition? Maybe that's the flavor, but I could tell it doesn't feel like it's 0 calorie though, or 20 calorie. So maybe that's just the flavor. Kiwi. I shouldn't have got the kiwi freaking, what is this? Kiwi strawberry. I don't know. Maybe I'll try one more flavor, but this stuff's good. I love Prime. Anyway, what can I do for you, Young?
Bro, yeah, man. Yeah, no worries. I'm glad you're enjoying the Prime, dude. I just wanted to see... Well, first of all, I just want to say I can't explain the excitement I get when it's this time of year, off season, and you drop some, like a Mars man like Drake London and just his situation and ADP, like nothing... That level of excitement is like priceless. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just want to say thank you.
Yeah, no problem. I mean, I feel like this show, we strike a nerve on in a good way. I think with what people really like. This is what I would want. Everything I do is really based on what I wanted when I was a regular Joe Schmo fantasy football consumer, but this is a long time ago, but I can't even remember what that was like anymore because that was over 20 years ago. But I remember sitting, look, my fantasy career started when I was a young, kid sitting on top of a milk crate box inside a freezer at a grocery store when I was 16 years old, I think. This is a long time ago. I didn't become a fantasy analyst then. I'm just saying I sat in a freezer and I had a notebook. And this is when you did fantasy by like the newspaper. There was no websites. There was no live scoring. There was none of that. And I sat in a freezer at a grocery store at my first job at 16 years old. And I had a notebook that I kept in my pocket. And anytime there was stocking that needed to be done, I'd raise my hand. Because there was no cameras back then or anything. I go in the freezer. I go around this corner where like the bread carts were and stuff, so you couldn't see what I was doing. If the door opened, I'd have plenty of time to pop up and look like I was stocking something. And I'd sit there in this freezer. And I would just, nobody would go in there. And I just, in February, March, April, May, June, didn't matter. February didn't matter. March didn't matter. I was doing my rankings. I would just write them. I'd rewrite them every couple hours. I'd just go in there and go running back 1, Tomlinson or whatever. Running back 2, and I'd keep writing them. And back then, I don't know if it was Tomlinson. Actually, it wasn't Tomlinson. Back then, it was Emmett. It was, it was almost, I want to say Marcus Allen. It was Thurman Thomas. Thurman Thomas was like back when I was 16 doing this, 17, 18. It was those types of names. So I was sitting there going Thurman Thomas. I was writing these wide receivers out. Jerry Rice, Steve Young. Steve Young was definitely, and I would write it out, right? And then I'd go to work for a couple hours, and then I'd come back in the freezer without looking at it. I'd rewrite it, and it'd be different every time. It'd be different, and I got so much enjoyment out of that, similar to what you just described. I got that enjoyment out of just redoing my rankings on a notebook. My friends thought I was crazy. I wanted to do all of our, there was no Dynasty back then. I wanted to do our redraft league in February and March. Like as soon as the Super Bowl was over, they're like, you're crazy. Why would we want to do the draft now? Players could get hurt. And in my mind, I have the same mindset too, mind you. When someone says, why do a draft in March, players could get hurt, I laugh. I don't care if we both have the same odds of a freak injury happening, number one. Number two, I believe the good would outweigh the bad, that I feel like the ADP risers, like McBride at number 80 overall, far outweighs any sort of negative bad luck that might strike you like lightning. You're going to have, if you're astute and on top of it, you're going to have the mentality of dominating early drafts because you will get your first dibs on players that nobody has risen up yet and that have climbed up ADP ranks. That's why I started. Like it all got planted, that seed there when I'm telling my friends, there's no content for this. No one wants to draft with me in March. No one wants to do this. And when I turned about, I think it was, I want to say like early, right after I graduated from college, right about then, I got into the fantasy industry. I made my own website. I taught myself how to web design. I was one of the first websites out there. Really, there was about 5 or 6 of us, and I've been doing content ever since. I didn't get in YouTube. The reason my YouTube doesn't have a million subscribers is because I didn't do YouTube until 5 years ago. I did radio, and I did that for so many years, and the written content. But bro, the reason I got into what I do is because nobody else was doing what I wanted to have done. So I know it's a long story, but the reason I deliver the content the way that I do, the reason I want to come out and excite you about McBride or Drake London is because I love it. Like I'm passionate about it, but this is what I wanted. Nobody was doing this, and still to this day, no one really truly does it. You know, they'll do shows, they'll do, you know, I think this year and last year were the first years that people would do year-round content to the degree they're trying to do now. But, bro, I promise you, no one can do what we're doing because no one's going to have the motor to do it. And maybe these companies that have 5, 6 guys kind of create that feel. But at the end of the day, it's like, you know, you got to like all 6 of those people. I'm trying to do that as one man And I know nobody's gonna replicate it. You know what I mean? Because they'll burn out. Who has a family of 2 kids and a missus in the other room right now that's gonna put up with that?
Incredible.
Who? Nobody.
Incredible.
I could give you my blueprint. You're not gonna be able to replicate it. That's what we bring to the table here, and I know it. And we're gonna continue to roll with it. And I appreciate every one of you. The only thing I would say, to be humble here, is I am nothing without any of you. Like, you guys make the show. I may come and deliver and try and entertain, but if you're not watching, I am a 0. I am a big fat 0. I'm walking out this door and there's nothing for, like, I am here because of you guys. So I want to first, thank you. But we're taking this thing to the top, man. I promise you. Okay, go ahead, Young. If you got any other questions, real quickly, and I'm going to go over to DeBolt. And hold on, Perps dropped a horn request. Hold on.
Alert.
Yep.
Super
Let it
chat
rip. Let it
alert.
rip.
Super chat. Perp says, hence why Smitty is going to dominate Rumble. That's why I decided to do Rumble. What we're doing on Rumble is more than I think what anybody's doing just on one channel. And we're doing it on the Dynasty channel, the Rumble channel, and the main channel, this main channel. So if anybody's not subscribed to the Dynasty channel, it's youtube.com/Dynasty Fantasy Football. The link's in the description of the video. This is the Fantasy Football Show on YouTube. And then rumble.com/the Fantasy Football Show, also in the description. I think the Dynasty channel link is wrong in the description. Just scroll to the bottom of my YouTube page and you'll see my Dynasty channel there. But thank you, Perps, for the $20 hauler, my man. What a monster. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry, Young. I won't cut you off again.
Yo. Hey, no problem, man. That story you told, I think that's the origin story that, that story deserves to be told. I could just picture young Smitty, full head of hair. For some reason, it's curly. I don't even know.
No, it was spiked up. It was spiked up. It doesn't grow very well now, man. I'll admit, receding a little bit. I'm not. I can't grow the fro anymore. But it was spiked up. It was bleach blonde looking. It's darker. It's darker too when I shave it. Like if I let it grow out, it gets really blonde. But if I shave it, it's dark. So that's one reason why I keep it tight, because it actually makes it look better.
Yeah.
It is what
Love
it is.
it, dude.
You get older, you deal with it.
No, that's awesome, man. No, yeah, we're here for you, bro. We're here for it. Yeah, that's cool, man. And then just before I go, quick question. Let's talk about Ladd McConkey, man. What do you think of him?
I like him.
How do you feel about Ladd McConkey?
I like him.
Coming out of Georgia.
A lot of buzz today. A lot of people saying that Ladd's going to probably, he may be a lot of people's number 1 wide receiver. I think that's a little crazy to be like talking like that. Could he have climbed to the number 2 wide receiver spot? I don't. Look, it's still Neighbors. It's still MHJ. It's not, he's not getting there for me. But could he be 3? Is Odunze 3 to me? Probably. But I like him, bro. I like him a lot.
Yeah, so like Harrison, Neighbors, and then it's like maybe Odunze, McConkey is kind of on that.
Yeah, you could put Odunze 4th though. Like I'm okay with that. I wouldn't think you're crazy at all. I mean, there's a lot of hype behind your boy. He's getting a lot of hype right now. But I just don't think I would let a workout determine that. I think the way I look at workouts and combines, and I always say this, is they got to be like an accessory to what you already think. Sometimes you might see somebody and go, wow, I didn't even know about them. And that's natural. Like you didn't know anything. So like, this was the first you saw them. But if like you do already have a good handle on who's who walking in, and then a workout changes or a 40 time changes your mind from 5th to 2nd, I think you're getting caught up on what. Got to keep in mind that like Henry Ruggs looked amazing. What was the other guy? What's that other guy? Speedster. Everybody thought was going to be amazing. He was nothing. Absolutely a 0. What was his name? One of the fastest combine times.
Was he also
He never did anything at all, but I'm trying to think of his name. But don't let workouts change your mind too much. I think Odunze is just so much more proven to me, and my eyeballs don't lie to me as of right now. But we got to keep in mind that like Puka Nacua was very, very interesting. You know, it's not like no one knew who he was. We were drafting him like crazy in best ball. I admit I should have been higher coming out of week 1, and I took laps for that. I took laps for that on my own show. But in the offseason, we were drafting him a ton because he still made a ton of sense at the end of the draft. But we didn't know he would develop into that good of a wide receiver. Even people that loved him didn't know. So, like, could any one of the top 5 guys become the number 2 overall wide receiver in the draft class? Absolutely, including this guy. Could Odunze be a nothing? Like, he could, but could he also be the number 2 over Neighbors? Yeah. But for me, it's Marvin Harrison Jr., Neighbors, Odunze, and then we start looking at who's kind of nudging up based on these workouts and etc. But
the problem with Puka, I think, for us this year was, you know how you always talk about, you know, situation is very important. And I think with Puka, the Rams you were kind of staying away from the Rams more or less.
Yeah, I admit.
Yeah. So.
But you know, I didn't anticipate, and I've quickly changed, you know, and I quickly adjusted and adapted, and that's why I always say adjust and adapt, even myself. Like, some of my adjust and adapt stories should really guide people. That, you know, you shouldn't look at it like, oh, okay, you know, everyone's gonna screw up assessing something, but how quickly do you say, okay, swallow my pride? The Rams look fantastic. I'm all in. You know, I'm all in. And so, you know, Stafford staying healthy was a tall order, it seemed, at the beginning of the year. He was a trooper. He did amazing. McVay turned this thing around. Zach Robinson, phenomenal QB coordinator. It was just a phenomenal year, and you got to adjust and adapt quick. And we did. I mean, I did. Anybody that wasn't on board the Rams situation, it was a very quick adjustment. And a lot of people will hang on to that and be like, no, because you said something different and you don't want to look like a fool. You got to adjust and adapt. But yeah, there's a lot of wide receivers, bro, in this class that could climb up. I mean, there's so many of them that are capable. So we'll have to see. The 4 to 10 is really hard to rank. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's pretty tough.
Gotcha,
but
all right, dude.
That's coming out soon though. Right, yeah, the receiver video is coming out soon. All right, bro. Appreciate you.
Oh, hell yeah. All right, thank you, Smitty. See you later.
All right, later. Let's go over to DeBalt. DeBalt, you're live. Superfish 10 gifted. Hold on. Superfish gifted 10 exclusive memberships.
Alert. Super chat alert.
Got a girl.
Safety first. Let's see here. And Perps dropped a $20 hauler. The Fantasy Football Show 44. No one has that Smitty DNA. Thank you, Perps. Appreciate you.
Alert. Super chat alert. Alert. Super chat alert.
Okay, go ahead, DeBalt. I'm sorry about that, bro.
Oh, you're good, man. It's I love it.
What can I do for you?
A question. I have a few things, man, but won't take a lot of your time. Our first question is, before I even mention this, is there a Dynasty? Because this is referring to Dynasty. Is there going to be a Dynasty stream?
Yeah, we got it tonight. I mean, if anything is going to get cut out, I hope nothing does. The Rumble stream, but probably do both of them.
Okay. All right, I'll keep it for that because it's straight up Dynasty. I
Okay.
did ask in the Discord.
Well,
by the way,
yeah,
which-
but this is not
Yeah,
a
people-
this is not a non-dynasty channel. The main channel, we do everything.
understandable.
So hit me with it.
Yeah, but I'll save. No, I'll save it. I'll
Okay,
save
okay,
it. There's
okay.
Plenty. I have plenty today.
All right, hey, I'm on the I'm on the
secondly,
clock. I'm on the clock on an underdog draft. My team so far is
Do it
Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley, Justin Jefferson, Drake London. So that's good.
Nice.
Kamara, Jacobs, Mark Andrews, Jaden Reed, C.J. Stroud, but I already have Hurts. But I do like doing the double quarterback. I do. Dunze, Eckler, McLaurin, Ramondre's interesting. Aaron Jones, God, man, it thinned out right at that point. There was a couple players that I could have grabbed that I would have loved. What are you thinking there? Jacobs isn't bad.
Where is he going though? That's going to be a big thing with Jacobs.
But I imagine
off the top four, just the top four.
I imagine Jacobs and Barkley are both going to be good spots though. Like I've got the Barkley board and the Jacobs board and the Henry board are going to be very similar, but the Barkley board, I mean, this technically for right now is the Barkley board, Jacobs board, and Henry board. So Houston, Philly, Chargers, Buffalo, Cincy, Dallas, Baltimore. Like I feel like Henry, Barkley, and Jacobs are all three going to one of these teams. If let's say, like a franchise tagging doesn't happen, I feel it.
They'll kill him if it. I don't mean literally, but that'll really like. He's at the turn of the age. They franchise tag him. I hope not.
Thank you, Superfish, and thank you again. I don't know if I did enough of these Superfish and Perps. Appreciate you. Yeah, so I'm on the clock here, guys. Do I go Jacobs? Do I go Kamara? Do I go Stroud? Even though I have Hurts as a 1 QB, but then have that awesome combo of quarterback rotation going on. Eckler, Adunze, Ramondre Stevenson's intriguing here. Nick Chubb, I'm just not. I'd take him in one draft. I'd take him in a couple drafts, but I'm definitely not super high on Nick Chubb. But at 64 overall, it's not bad. I don't have.
Kamara's the safest.
I don't have a tight end yet. Where's my next pick? My next pick. I want to see if Trey McBride's gonna fall.
Yes, sir.
69 overall. He should be there for that pick at least. And then my next pick would be
Hopefully.
76. I mean, his ADP says he'll be there. Maybe I'll wait. I don't know.
I mean, worst case scenario,
I
you
just
get
wanna
Brock
move-
Bowers.
I don't want to move his ADP up. I don't want anybody to move his ADP up. You got a Ramondre or Jacobs. What do you guys got? Jacobs and Barkley. Switch spots says Hoosiers. I don't know about that. Amy says Jacobs, Ramondre or Jacobs. All right, what else you got, bro?
Actually, I'm picking right now too. It's a 8-hour board. That's gonna be what I'm gonna ask is the same thing you're doing. And this is my first pick. So it's kind of open, and I hate picking in the top 6. I really hate it. I prefer to pick 7 to 12. Gives you more room for error. But right now, here we go. I have Bijan, Jahmyr Gibbs, Kyron Williams, or Garrett Wilson.
Bijan,
Those 4.
Kyron Williams, Garrett Wilson, and Gibbs. I'd probably go Gibbs.
Yes.
I like Bijan or Gibbs.
Me too. But I want same thing. I was going to do exactly what you did. What does the chat think? Who should I take?
I mean, they're going to be torn on Gibbs and Bijan. But I mean, just draft enough of both of them. I wouldn't sweat it really. You're going to draft almost equal shares of Kyron too. Mix Kyron into that. I just draft a ton of all three. Like the way I look at it is I want 4 or 5 drafts at once, and I want to just have the combo of them on all 4 and start drafting very similar teams. Similar to how I do NCAA brackets, where I have a core, values going on of my bracket, a core, theory, and then I just start I do a couple variations of them, and I just change up the things that I've kind of questioned, but I have a lot of the same formula. And then if it hits, You're gonna have a nice little team. Well, I have a thing called Brute Force Best Ball Drafting video that I'm gonna come out with that kind of explains how to put all your eggs in one basket in a very safe way. And it's probably not what you expect, but hang tight on that.
You got it. So I was watching some tape today on Bo Nix, and he kind of reminds me a lot of Mahomes when he was at Texas Tech.
I love Bo Nix. I think people are out of their mind that think he's bad.
He can throw things on a dime, and he does those little pitches out, not even looking like.
He's got a nice ball, bro, and he throws. He's got some, as Denny would say, he zips it. He zips a football. I love it. I think he's gonna have a quick release in the NFL and just be. He's a very, very good quarterback. Very, very crafty too. He gets out of a jam and like no other. He gets out of a jam. He gets out of a jam like some of the best running quarterbacks. He's got a lot of upside. Like Bo Nix falling. Like I'm glad I'm hearing Penix and Bo Nix are actually falling in people's minds, because that means Seattle won't be. They'll have a shot, and everyone's saying that maybe they both go in the second round. It's certainly possible, but I just can't see it, because these teams that are in this territory from pick 1 to 16, there's so many teams that need a quarterback in such a panicked fashion. I cannot see them not reaching. So this whole notion that we're having these 2 of our top 5 quarterbacks fall, yeah, McCarthy might be climbing for sure in a lot of people's minds. You can't change what everybody's feeling if that's the way they're feeling. So McCarthy might go to, the Atlanta Falcons. McCarthy might go to the New England Patriots. It's possible that it goes Caleb, JD5, McCarthy, and then we don't have a quarterback taken until pick number 11 to the Minnesota Vikings, and they take, Bo Nix. And everyone's like, "Oh my God, this guy could have went to the second round." Well, I don't think he will. If he does, it's stupid.
No. I mean, think about it.
I love him.
Let's just say Purdy doesn't have a great game, and Bo Nix is there. You think San Francisco is going to pass up on Bo Nix?
San Francisco.
Yeah, let's just say, because they're saying second round. Right? Everyone's saying he's going to go second round.
They wouldn't take a quarterback in the second round, man. Do you know how much drama that would create?
No.
You realize how bad that would be for the organization to draft a quarterback in the second round? Not going to happen to Bolt, but it would be crazy.
Yeah, it would be great, but I think Bo Nix is. I'm actually going to really target him in fantasy and Dynasty. That's the guy I'm going to really look at.
It's going to be good, bro. So, all right, the Bolt to the moon.
So,
appreciate you. We'll see you on the Dynasty. See you on the Dynasty channel later.
You got it.
Thanks, all right, later. Yeah, I can't see San Fran doing that. You never know. Can't see it happening though. That would create a a whole bunch of that's not rumors that they would want circling in that would I guess Ray G's right to DeBolt's point, and Ray G's point. The Niners do love quarterback drama, and they always have it. But there's no way. I think Bo Nix is going earlier than people think. And not to mention there are freaking pro days and combine and all that have a chance to vault these QBs and everybody up in value. Everybody's making these determinations like they know where all these players are going to go. 11th hour climbs always happen. Spacula sent a trade in sniping SOBs. Oh no, Spacula, what'd you send me? How do you feel about our trade we did? Would I get 4 first rounders for Kelsey from you last time, about this time last year? That was a good trade for me, I think. All right, Sniping Sons, I'll go into that draft right now. Spacula is in one of the follower leagues I created a long time ago, and he said he sent me a trade offer, and he is going to give me a 25 first rounder. Oh, no, you're sending me. You're trying to take my 25 first rounder and give me Purdy, a second, and Chuba Hubbard. But who's my quarterback? My quarterback's Patrick Mahomes. Spac? You sure about that? I got Patty Mahomes as my start. It's a 1 QB, right? It's a 1 QB. I got Patty Mahomes as my QB. I'm not sending you a first rounder for Brock Purdy. But nice try. Let me reject that real quick. Thank you, SPAC. I appreciate you. I love that SPAC always super chats when he sends me trade offers, but they're always trade offers that, no offense, Spacula, put your earmuffs on, that I'm never going to accept it unless we did it live like we did where I really got what I wanted out of it, and it made sense for me. I'm not doing that trade, Brock. Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy for a first rounder. I've got Patty Mahomes, bro. Brock Purdy couldn't crack my lineup. Thank you for the super chat, though, SPAC. You're the man. You're the man, the myth, the legend. A not too Purdy situation. That's correct. Spacula defined his own trade offer beautifully. Let's open up the phone lines again for just a little bit. We'll be back doing stuff tonight. We might actually do a quick show today. When I say quick, it's always at least an hour, but we're at an hour and 5 minutes right now. We might do an hour and 30-minute show, hour and 20-minute show, so that we can come back and do the Rumble stream, which is rumble.com/the Fantasy Football Show. We'll be back to do a Rumble stream, and we'll be back to do a Dynasty stream on youtube.com/Dynasty Fantasy Football. And Birdman's laughing at the first rounder for Purdy. Oh, yeah. You're not getting a first round. I don't care if I needed a quarterback. I'm not trading a first rounder for Purdy, but SPAC always tries to fleece me, but, you could keep sending the super chats every time you send these, and I'll put it on screen, but definitely not doing that one. Darius Hayward Bay. I think Keith is watching the show from way back because he's answering a question that I recognize that I asked. Who ran Fast 40. He was one of them, Darius Hayward Bay. Everybody fell in love with him at the Combine. People do that all the time. Spacula, appreciate you. Spacula's the GOAT, not me. Spacula, appreciate you, bro. Phone line's open.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
So, yeah, back to this while we're waiting for anybody if they want to call in. Really, really love the idea of Russell Wilson on one of these teams. I know that sounds weird. I mean, Russell Wilson's a complete disappointment coming off last year, but I really do believe a team is going to potentially look to get to trade for him. But he could also get cut very easily. I think that the thing about it is, I think if a team doesn't want the competition for him, they'll make a deal if some of the contract gets eaten. And like I said, earlier, I was cooking up a weird idea, but like, if the Raiders were getting him, you traditionally would not move up a slot. But if you were to give like a future conditional something that was massive, if it all worked out, you could also request for that swap. Saying, look, we're taking on a big fat contract. Do us a solid here. Who the hell knows what could go down on this? But Russell Wilson for a conditional second that maybe is a third or fourth, like we were saying earlier, until it moves up to a conditional second. But conditional pick for Russell Wilson.
Motion detected.
I don't think anybody's giving a massive amount for him that is not conditional. Ziggy, show me the front door. It would have to be conditional because it'd have to be conditional. Ziggy off, because you don't know what you're getting. He's like unproven now. He's not somebody that Ziggy off. Smitty's looking for a package. Ziggy off. It's not like we know what he's capable of right now. We have no clue what he can do. Hob G dropping a 20 watt on screen. Hob G says the dopest fantasy show on the airwaves. Giants take Bowers, then Roman Wilson with one of their second rounders. Hob G, appreciate your $20 Boss Horn Hauler.
Alert. Super chat alert.
Boss Horn alert. $20 Boss Horn Hauler. And for anybody that doesn't know, I had to convince Miss Smitty hardcore to let her allow the boss horn to be 24 hours. But it does require a couple things. The $20 haulers, once we get past 11 p.m. Eastern. Perps, calling again. I thought I accepted the call, Perps. Calling again, Perps. I don't know why that didn't go through. I hit accept and it just went away. But dial in again. Miss Smitty said that $20 hauler, we got to escalate that or bump that up to limit the number of times that the toot could go off. And so I said, well, what number do you think will minimize it a little? And she said, I don't know, 100. So Miss Smitty, gets to call very few shots during the day, obviously, because this is a business. No one, is she behind me? No one dictates what goes on here until it gets evening time. And it's like, okay, I do have to live in this world when I leave these doors. So Miss Smitty gets to dictate some things. And she said that at 11 p.m. Eastern, if the boss horn is going to go off, it's got to be $100 hauler. So there will be like a timer. Like if we're live and it's about to turn 11 p.m. Eastern, it'll be last call on $20 boss horn haulers. And then at that point, you're going to get
Alert. Super chat alert.
You're just going to get the regular super chat celebration, which was fantastic anyway. You get the money rain dance and all that. But we'll blast the boss horn off on $100 haulers. And she wanted me to upgrade her iPhone. So and a pair of Beats Beats by Dre headphones to account for the noise if she's got to put them on. She's very, very good at negotiating. She's learned it from me. Spacula said I took him to the cleaners on that last trade. Wasn't it 4 first rounders live on the show this time last year? Spacula sends me, no offense, Spacula, some of these offers that I don't even consider them, like the one he just offered Purdy for a first rounder when I've got Mahomes. Like, no offense, Spacs. But he'll send me that, and then he called into the show, or maybe it was just via chat, and we negotiated live on the air. And I said, look, it's gonna to get Kelsey, it's gonna take, was it 3 first rounders, Spacula, or 4? Was it 3 for Kelsey last year? I think it was at least 3. But we did it live on the air, and Spacula wanted Kelsey so bad. And I'm like, I got to get rid of him. So, what's up, Perps? I'm sorry, Spax.
What's up, Smitty?
What's up, pal? Appreciate you.
Appreciate you.
Perps.
What do you think of the recent Kirk Cousins news?
Which one? Because there's a few things floating around. You mean the?
Well, he's shopping 2 for $90. And talk that the Vikings are going to trade up in the draft. They're talking about it on the sports radio here.
Yeah, there's a lot of room
today that. Go ahead.
Yeah, no. Keep going.
Yeah, the local guy that supposedly has the inside edge, and Paul Allen were talking today about Quezzy's trying to trade up to that 2-3 spot for a QB.
Yeah, there's a lot of rumors going around. I don't, nothing substantiated by, I think, any big name sources. So it's good to hear, local stuff though. And sometimes they kick around ideas, and the local talk here in Arizona was so dead wrong on a lot of the Kyler Murray contract, information. When was are they gonna wait to give him his extension? And so I don't know. I definitely worth going live on if there's anything that breaches, any sort of territory that I think that everybody needs clarification on. I think some of that speculation. So what did the guy say that you heard when he said that inside information, or where did it come from? Like, what was he saying about it? How he found it? Who was talking about it? Was there any sort of clarification, or was he just throwing mud at the wall?
He didn't give his source, of course,
yeah.
But he's one of those guys that usually connected with, the inside team stuff. I mean, Paul Allen, everyone knows who he is, and he has his own outlandish takes at times, so I take everything with a grain of salt, just like you said, until it comes out as fact. But I guess I was just curious if you had heard anything. In
where were they saying he was going?
Well, they were just saying that they're not certain that the Vikings are going to take Kurt for what he wants.
Yeah.
He wants too much.
Yeah.
And Kurt's trying to say that, on his exit interview that he was going to give him the hometown discount, and then he comes out with 2 for $90, which everyone's like, that's not the hometown discount, to stay with the team. That's him wanting to go somewhere else. And then, there's the chatter of Atlanta.
But the problem is
Raiders.
no team's going to want to give him 2 for $90. So
Correct.
Yeah. So
we talked about it days ago.
Yeah. So he could definitely request it, but no one's going to necessarily do it. Pretty sure it was John Ross. That was the one. That was the name Landweber that I was trying to think of. There was a lot Darius Hayward Bay was another one that ran. Everyone got enamored by his workout. But yeah, John Ross was the one I was trying to think of. He jumped up above all these other wide receivers he had no business jumping over, and that's what I say, the combine and workouts and Senior Bowl workouts and all that. None of that should influence anybody to vault somebody they were not expecting to vault over somebody else. So thank you for dropping that. Superfish says Larry will be carrying the Lombardi to the winner in the Super Bowl number 39 rocket ship. Thank you, Superfish, for dropping the $5 hauler. Really appreciate you. Yeah, so my take on this is this from and I have seen some Twitter/X posts on this. The report was Kirk Cousins looking for $90 million guaranteed, $45 million for 2 years to resign with the team, and that's what that's like his negotiation, his entry point negotiation tactic or whatever. But he'll go elsewhere looking for that. No one's going to give it to him. So my guess is because he's coming off an Achilles injury, no team's going to even flirt with those kind of numbers. I don't think. You never know. Teams are pretty desperate for a quarterback, but I don't think anybody's flirting with that unless it's Atlanta or it's Las Vegas, because they just want to make sure they aren't left with what they were dealing with last year. So they're willing to take a risk or whatever. But I have a feeling that he's going to end up either back in Minnesota on the hometown discount, and it's not even close to what he imagined. I just don't think there's a market for him. If Lamar Jackson couldn't get 2 first-rounders, for as an asking price, how is Kirk Cousins going to go out and get this? You never know. Come off an Achilles tear, I don't know. I'm not sure. But I do know that Minnesota's tried to move on from him for a long time. And it wouldn't shock me if they brought him back because JJ wants it. And, they're also probably scared. They might talk a big game, but at the end of the day, they never leave Kirk Cousins, right? They always act like they're going to divorce him, and then they never do. So it wouldn't shock me if he stayed. But they've tried to get rid of him so many times, and they've talked about drafting other quarterbacks. They wanted Anthony Richardson, very, very, very well known that they wanted Anthony Richardson in last year's NFL draft. And that's all got to be kind of insulting, too. So I think Kirk Cousins probably doesn't feel like he's always their first choice. He probably feels like he's sloppy seconds to them every single time they come back to him. So I bet you there is some real drive for Kirk Cousins to go get a bag. He said it wasn't about money, remember? It's not about money. It's about fit. And we know that's not true. Whenever a player says that, it's not true. Doesn't matter what they say. Guess what proves fit? Money. So a lot of times you clarify with the player and they'll say, well, it's not about money, but the money, it's about respect. Okay, well, what shows you respect? Well, that they offer me the right amount of money. So Kirk Cousins, 90 mil, 45 million a year. That's about money. I hate to inform anybody.
Let's use Tom Brady, for example. Tom Brady could have made a lot more money, and he gave up money every year to stay with the Patriots and build that team.
Yeah. Yep.
So, I mean, you're 100% right. Cousins is after the money.
Yeah, and I don't...
Another minivan.
Yeah, another minivan. Souped up minivan. Turbo. I think Cousins is good for... Obviously, he's good for Minnesota. He's good for JJ. I think JJ proved, though, he could survive without him. However, I don't know how comfortable I feel with expecting number 1, number 2, or even number 3 overall value, though, even with the fact that he proved he could do it. I think there's still something to an offense coming out. It's one thing to like have your quarterback go down and you still kind of carry on. It's another to actually go into a new year with a new quarterback, and it's like a whole different mentality, and we could see a lot of continuity struggles. There might not be a lot of rapport. There could be all kinds of stuff. Like, it's different when you're almost forcing the quarterback into the same offense, whereas if you approach the new year with a new quarterback, it's different. Then it's continuity. It's not so much like, hey, this is what we're doing. We're spoon feeding JJ because we anticipated having Cousins here, so this is what you're doing, and the quarterback does it and it works. But like, to plan everything from scratch with a new guy, it might not translate like it did with JJ without Kirk Cousins. That's all I'm trying to say. So I don't know how comfortable I feel with him at 1, 2, or 3. I like Breece Hall more than I like JJ if Kirk Cousins isn't in Minnesota. But if, let's say, they bring in, I don't think they would bring in Russell Wilson, because I believe the whole reason and point for moving on from Kirk is to get a young Stroud in there. I think everybody saw Stroud rise up and become a top 5 quarterback immediately, and now everybody wants a Stroud. And I think everybody's going to say, hey, we can do that. Hey, scout team, can you do that? And everyone's going to be like, yeah, we can, boss, because what are they going to do, lose their job? So they're all going in thinking they're going to find Stroud 2.0, and Minnesota probably wants that, not Russell Wilson. Now, they could trade for Justin Fields. They could trade up to the number 1 overall pick if Chicago wants to keep Justin Fields. These are all options that are on the table, and the 11th pick overall is good enough to maybe get something like that done. Some would say it's more than enough to get it done and they should get something back. I mean, that's debatable. Depends what you feel and how you value Justin Fields. But the number 1 overall pick, if let's say Chicago wants to keep Justin Fields, Minnesota could surrender a whole boatload with that 11 to get the number 1 overall pick and draft, Caleb Williams. Fields, Caleb. If they don't go Fields or Caleb, what are they doing though? They have to grab McCarthy. If McCarthy goes, and the way his current situation is going as of today and the hype he's getting right now, which I understand it, but I don't know that I fully buy into it fully yet. I'm reserving the right to change my mind as we go through the scouting process together. No one knows everything right now, and everybody be ridiculous to close the book on their evaluation process. A lot of things can change. A combine performance, a single pro day, as I said, shouldn't affect something out of the blue, but it can certainly shape what you already kind of feel. Like, if we're feeling McCarthy's got this, but I'm worried about this, and he proves it, and that's the one piece he proves at the combine, then I think that can be influential. But I don't know. Minnesota, I don't know what they're going to do, bro. I don't know. I think if they move on from Cousins, they're running the risk of having a worse situation. If you're Denver and you move on from Russell Wilson, which they're clearly doing, it has to be a better situation. If you're Minnesota and you move on from Kirk, it has to be a better situation, and there aren't that many of those, and there's no guarantee. You have no guarantee you're going to pull it off in time. It's crazy, man. The timing is hard. That's why a lot of teams go back to a quarterback because they don't know that they're going to get something pulled off. So
no, right? Yeah, the grass isn't always greener.
And you don't know what the variables are going to be downstream. So you're like, well, we might as well just take this now. And so, you settle.
Well, so in that same talk on PA show today, that guy, I think he was from Pro Football Talk or something, I forget his name, but he also brought up the talk of the Vikings, the chatter on trading Jefferson to Arizona.
Yeah,
that pick.
Yeah, I don't. I can almost tell you that's fabricated. That's not going to happen.
No, yeah, and I'm not trying to.
Yeah, no.
I'm not trying to do fake news. I'm just
no,
asking.
No, perps. If it's out there, keep in mind. Remember, I talk about it sometimes just to shoot it down. Like if news broke that was out there. And it was out there like front facing. It wasn't something that somebody's cooking up on a local show and it doesn't have any steam at all. because a lot of people say a lot of stuff. Like, no one picks up half the stuff I say, like, or no one picks up, no big sources pick up anything I say. We're going to change that. Eventually, we will change that. Eventually, when we'll have players on here, and we'll make some news. Don't worry. We'll be on McAfee at some point. They'll be showing something we do at some point when we get bigger. You mark my words. But right now, no one cares about us, local radio show or whatever, maybe a famous person or two on it, but like no one's necessarily spreading that stuff around that they're saying there. I can tell you right now, I am not getting any sort of vibe that has any legs whatsoever, if it even has the ability to even be discussed as something that could have.
Yeah, and
legs.
I would have a hard time believing they'd want to do that anyway.
No chance.
Totally the face of the franchise right now.
No chance. Yeah. I mean, that would be one of the dumbest moves in, NFL history. but hey,
getting rid of Randy Moss.
Yeah, you hear it. It's okay to bring it up. Make no mistake about it. We'll just shoot it down. Now, I mean, anybody could get traded. It happens all the time. I'll certainly be here to, I think, shoot things down if we hear weird rumors, but there's zero chance that JJ's getting traded, in my opinion. And the Cardinals, and this kind of goes back to like, okay, well then is it a better move to trade JJ or trade for Marvin Harrison Jr.? Like, you could say Marvin Harrison Jr. for whichever team wants to start over could be smarter. You could say that if you wanted. I mean, there is that argument. That's probably where someone cooked it up, and it's all theory, though. Like, that's my guess as to how it was generated. You just say, okay, would you rather have Marvin Harrison Jr.? This is how I imagine the conversation went, and then somebody talked about it again, and somebody talked about it, and then before you know it, it's a rumor. But would you rather have JJ knowing you're going to have to pay the big bucks for him, and have, all that to worry about, or reset the clock on Marvin Harrison Jr. on a rookie deal? You know what I mean? Like, that's probably where the scenario came from. Yep. And to be frank, there's argument for both of those. You could, cook up, but I still think trading JJ would be, the fan base would lose it. But
100%. And if they did get rid of him, they're going to have to get something really, really good in return to not hear about it.
Well, Marvin Harrison,
if they just dump him for draft picks, it's not going to be good.
Yeah, but Marvin Harrison Jr. would be the only like the swap you're doing in your mind, right? You're getting to start over on somebody that could be the number one wide receiver in the NFL. But JJ is the number one. Could be and is are two different things, and sometimes you got to pay for what you got to pay the piper for something.
Well, look at when Diggs was in town. I mean, Diggs was the hot ticket, and then his attitude and the Diggs era went away. And then look what he did in Buffalo. Well, now JJ is another Diggs 2.0, but JJ's got the better attitude. And so everyone wants JJ around. They don't want him to go.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
And then the only other thing is I just want to make sure you didn't get kicked out to the car, and I'm on Miss Smitty's bad list.
No, Miss Smitty actually asked me
how havoc around that house.
Yeah, no, Miss Smitty asked me. I do owe you one more Boss Horn toot though, because you dropped $100 holler on the way out the door of the Rumble live stream. So let me hit that real quick. But no, Miss Smitty actually asked me.
Save it for Rumble tonight.
Okay. I'll save it for Rumble. Miss Smitty did ask me though too. She said, "Hey, how'd the Boss Horn go last night?" So I was like, "Yeah, you got the right. This is the right attitude. This is what I was talking about. This is iPhone, upgrade material right here, Miss Smitty. She was playing the part very well. She didn't say like ignore it, not talk about it. She's like, "Hey, how'd the Boss Horn go last night?" I was like, "Wow, she's really getting into the idea of getting this iPhone upgrade." But I told her, don't retract on our agreement. Like, as soon as you get the iPhone and then it's in your hands, and you got the Beats by Dre headphones and they're in your hands, and then all of a sudden the Boss Horn goes off at 2 a.m. 4 times in a row, And then she starts, complain. We're taking the iPhone live on the air, putting it right here on this table, and we're gonna smash it with a hammer.
You might need to get a notarized document, or you might have to bring her on live to accept her new items and the agreement that she can't change her mind. Once she takes them, she's locked in.
Yeah. Dave, you're a little bit of a hater sometimes, Dave. I'm just gonna say it. Does anybody else feel that way in the chat? You're a little bit of a hater. 100 to blow a horn, LOL. Look, you don't have to do anything, Dave, that you don't want to do. You don't have to do anything, Dave. You're watching for free right now. So what are you complaining about? Smash that iPhone. Yeah. And if we do smash the phone, I mean, we're dealing with a whole nother problem then, but we'll see. All right, Space Ricky, appreciate you being here. Mod Squad in the house. Anything else, Perps?
That's all I got right now. Thanks for everything.
All right, Perps to the moon. Appreciate you, bro.
Later. See you.
Yeah, I mean, how many gifted memberships? Perps is probably given Dave. What was his name? Dave. Gifted membership, and Dave's in here clowning on. And it's not a horn, it's a drill, says all chilled. It is a horn. It's 4 horns and a drill. So it's all the above. Okay, don't do that as your lawyer advised. Oh, Miss smashing her phone. Yeah, she might not like that, I guess. Miss Smitty wouldn't probably be okay with that. Hob G, thank you for the $20 hauler. You're the man, the myth, the legend. Perps, appreciate all the support tonight. Boss Horn Deckard, appreciate you. Spacula, thanks for the bad offer, and I appreciate your super chat anyway. You are the man. Spacula to the freaking moon. I got Spac's name on my door. Anybody that gets a lifetime membership to the fantasyfootballshow.com, you get a lifetime membership. I write your name on the door. Okay, you're on the door for life. And Perp's dropping a final $20 hauler because he's such a monster. Dave, how do you like these apples? That one was long. I held that one loud. Here. How you like that? How you like that, Dave? There you go, Dave. All right, appreciate you all. Dave, open up your heart. Open up your heart, Dave. Bowers to the moon. Bowers is a moon man.
To the moon.
To the moon. Bowers, moon man extraordinaire.
The moon man. Dropping loads in outer space.
Spears, moon man extraordinaire.
He's on a shuttle to Mars.
McBride.
Mars man.
McBride, Stroud, London. Mars man extraordinaires. These are amazing lists. Look at them. Let's go through them.
Spinning aimlessly in
Let's go through them. Stroud, London, McBride.
The moon men, dropping loads in outer space.
Bowers, Spears.
The Saturn men.
One small step for man, one giant leap for Saturn.
Hall, Kyron, JD5, Puka, Bijan, Achan, Gibbs, AR, 5.
Spaceman.
Doing it live. The boys are doing it live. Appreciate everybody being here. Hob G to the moon. Did I make the door, Smitty? Perps, I don't know. Yeah, I think. I don't even know if I wrote it. Let me go see if I wrote Perps on there last time. Let me see, Perps. Perps, you made the door. I'm gonna put it right by the 44. Perps, you're probably on here somewhere, but I'd have to search for it. So you're on there. Perps gets on there no matter what, but he's got a lifetime membership. I'm sure you're on there. But lifetime membership, you get dropped on the door there, written on my door. At the end of it, when I retire 15 years, 20 years from now, let's say. Because I'm not going! I'm not going anywhere, don't worry. But when I do retire, when I'm 15, 20 years deep into this Both channels are conglomerates. We've turned down ESPN 2 or 3 times, and your boy says I'm stepping away 15, 20 years from now. It's going to be a long time. Some of you will be retired from your own jobs by the time I do this. I'll raffle off the door. I'm sure Perps will buy it, but that door will go to somebody. We'll send this door to a lucky winner. It's got the Scarface poster on it. Maybe I'll keep everything that's on it when we do it. We'll go with it, and we'll send the door. We'll auction it off, and then we'll give. Maybe we'll give. I don't know. Maybe we'll give it to charity. Perps to the moon. Perps dropping another one. Perps, he's unbelievable. He's unbelievable. He's unbelievable.
Alert. Super chat alert.
$20 super chat. $20 super. All right, I'm out of here. I have a lifetime membership, Matto. Didn't know my name was on the door. Outstanding. Matto, I don't know if it's on there. I write them on when they happen, but I'm going to write it on there again just so I know and good conscience it's on there. We'll put you right here, Matto. You're probably on here. Matto, eye level. When your boy walks out every single night, goes and takes a 2-hour, sleep. Perps, appreciate you. 44 club OGs in the house. Go to Underdog Fantasy promo code Smitty, where we're going to draft all off season long. Link is in the description. I'm going to pin the said link in the live chat right this very second. There's the link. Hit the link. Smash the link. The link is now pinned. And if you don't sign up by clicking said link, getting the double first deposit on the books, deposit 100 up to 100, they'll double it. 20, they'll give it to you. 20, you'll have 40. You do the $10 minimum, they'll give you 10, you'll have 20. And these drafts we do are the $3 or $5 half the time, so you could just smash the hell out of it. Perps dropping. I think Perps trying to do the $100 to rub it into Dave, and just say, Smitty, who are you kidding? Dave's $100. There we go. There you go, Dave. Dave says good night, guys. Good night, Dave. Dave, if I could, I'd give you a hug. Let's see, what did Dave respond? Smitty, still here. Still here. Chris and... What? Smitty's still here. Okay, thanks, Dave. Dave, I want you to know, Dave, I want to appreciate you. I mean, I do appreciate you. I still appreciate you. But I do feel like you bring in like I want to laugh at you guys. You guys are really doing this. You guys are really doing that. You guys are really doing this. You guys are really doing that. I wouldn't do that. LOL. I wouldn't do that. Ha ha. Must be nice. I mean, I've seen a couple comments before, Dave. This is not the first one. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's kind of like, it's not a good look, though. Like, have excitement for the channel's growth. Why are you mad about the channel's growth? Why are you mad about somebody dropping a wad for a toot on a horn? Why does that make you mad? You know what I mean? Like have happiness for it. You have happiness for other people to do that. Those things will happen to you. You know what I mean? Keep a positive vibe. Root and cheer for other people. Don't look at somebody else getting something going on and say, man, I'm rooting against that because it's not. Go make it happen. You root for other people, and those things will happen to you. Good things happen to those that have a genuine desire for goodness all around, bro. You know what I'm saying? So, like, Dave, do it live. You know what I'm saying? Marsman, rock out. I'm about ready to head out the door. What can I do for you, kind sir? Perps is dropping a fire tonight.
So besides the Georgia tight end, who you got your eyes on?
Tight end video is coming. Don't know that I want to spill. I kind of made it a point not to spill the beans on the rookies.
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah, just because I'm still moving them around too, and I don't want to like cement anything in yet either. Because the last thing I want to do is say something and then all of a sudden I'm feeling differently the next minute, and I'll be honest with you, they're still moving. But let's hang tight on that one. The only thing I've said over and over, is kind of cat out of the bag, is we've had a lot of conversations about it, is that, Bowers is 2 for wide receivers, Marvin Harrison's 1, Adunze's 3. Running backs, I haven't really given any indication. I've made a couple comments here and there, but I think people will be a little bit shocked at the RBs. I was, waiting for Henderson to declare or go back, and that changed a lot when that happened. Quarterbacks already did that video. However, that's subject to change as, the workouts and all that ensue. But JD5's a Saturn man for a reason. I think he's the next Lamar Jackson. Could that change? I suppose. It definitely could.
So you think this year is a down year for running back?
Oh, yeah. As Perp says, Dave, positivity is welcomed. Bring your brick, like the rest of us, to build this thing brick by brick, is what Perps is trying to say, Dave. Building this as a family, brick by brick. You know what I'm saying, Dave?
All right, Dave.
I mean, the way I feel about the way Dave views me, which I'm just a little disappointed because I wanted Dave to like me more, is because he's watching me daily. So it's like but it's just like I wish Dave was more along the lines of like. Oh, there he is. He's still here. I thought you were leaving, Dave. I wish Dave was more along the lines of like. Hey, yeah, let me just be quiet about that, but let me help. I'll build a little less than you guys. Maybe I'll just put a couple bricks onto the pile and kind of sit back like, somebody in your school project that never pulled their weight. But at least they were quiet about it. They didn't like rub it in your face and go outside of the classroom while you did all the group work. At least they'd sit there, and pretend like they didn't know how to do it, and so you'd do it for them. Like, that's what I at least expect out of Dave. But Dave's sitting there going, why are you picking up bricks to build this thing brick by brick? LOL. Like, that's the way you're coming across. Dave, that's the way you're coming across. That's all I'm saying. All right. Anything else, Rockout, or did you ask anything? Did Perps get 20 gifted, Matt?
Also,
all right.
Once you get to a certain subscriber count, do you get, like, certain perks?
Yeah, I mean, we get more gifted or more YouTube exclusive emojis. Perps dropped a 20 gifted membership. Perps, all right, Perps. 20 gifted memberships. Every boss horn blow from the super chat, I'm going to do a shot. I like that idea, Chris. That's what I'm talking about. What would be funny? Nice. You know what, Chris? You're a genius. Chris from Vegas. This is my boy, by the way. And he hasn't been in here in a while, so, like, Chris being in here, makes me feel good. The reason I like Chris so much is Chris is somebody I met in Vegas when I went down there. And there's something cool about meeting new people that have no idea who you are, and they become regulars and big parts of your community when they had no idea who they were. They didn't even ever listen to you, so that's why I really like Chris so much, and he's a cool dude. Hey, Chris,
Chris's game.
Well, Chris, I'm sorry, I was mixing up Chris and his friend. Chris was brought over by Reebok. God. Reebok is who I met. Chris is Reebok's friend, who I love. And let me restart my story. I really love when somebody I meet in Vegas has no idea who I am. They tell somebody, and that person becomes a fan of the show. That's what I was meaning to say. Either way, I love Chris. Chris is an awesome dude. Hob G gifting 20 gifted memberships. 20 gifted memberships.
Alert. Super chat alert.
Anyway, Reebok is my boy that I met in Vegas, and I love Reebok. Where's Reebok? Hey, Chris, can you call in real quick, Chris? I don't know if you're free. If you're working, don't get fired or anything. But Reebok introduced Chris to us, and so Chris, like, even more so, I'm excited to see you in here because I never even met you, and Reebok's the one that got you to watch this show. But anyway, what I was saying was this guy's a genius. And I know Dave isn't going to understand this. He'll just LOL. But
yeah,
there is something to $20 hauler not being upgraded to a $100 hauler for the Boss Horn that doesn't quite set right. You know, like, hey, this cost me $20 10 minutes ago. You know, but the lure is that the whole family's asleep, and if I give a $100 hauler, Smitty's gonna wake the whole family up, and that's funny. Like that's something that's attractive to drop, right? But this whole notion of like doing a shot or doing something, I like the idea of like maybe let me see, let me brainstorm with Chris real quick. Chris, I'm not gonna do that on the live stream. First of all, appreciate you, Chris. Appreciate you very much. I'm sorry I mixed you up with Reebok, but same concept, like meeting Reebok and then him extension. You're an extension of him.
Yeah, absolutely.
What can I do that isn't? I can't do that on the show. But like, what if I like chugged a glass of water or a bottle of water while I did the Boss Horn with the $100 haulers in the middle of the night? Like, there's got to be something I can do in addition to the $100 hauler, in addition to waking the family up, that really makes the $100 hauler after 11 p.m. Eastern really a special thing, not just it costs more. So what do you think? Chug a bottle of water. I need to drink more water anyway, so this could be really good for me. Chug a bottle of water, fire off the toot horn, and wake the family up. Does that sound like it's a genius idea to just mix something else into it. But does that sound good to everybody? I mean, chugging a bottle of water is a lot.
I mean, it's either, you got to stick with what's going to work for you, because I know you're trying to, like, get in shape and everything. So if waters works best, then I say stick with water. Blow
bubbles. Let's try it. Let me go get a I don't have any bottled waters here. I'll have to get a whole case of bottled waters. I'm sure people will drop, like, here's a $5 hauler for a case of bottled water, stock, Smitty. Let me get a big glass of water. Let's try it out. I'll fire the Boss Horn off. Hold on one second, guys. Rock out, take over.
What's up, y'all? Anybody got any questions?
All right, what are we talking about?
I don't know. They have no questions. I asked them if they have any questions.
Alert. Super chat alert.
All right. This is it's a wide glass.
Super chat alert.
This is a wide glass, so this is about equivalent to a skinny tall bottle of water. It's a really wide glass. All right, let's try this out. All the gifted memberships, we got Hav G. Let me see. Let me read them off real quick. We got Hav G with the 20 gifted memberships. Perps with the 20 gifted memberships. Appreciate that. So we're firing this off. This is just a test run. I'm not drinking a glass of water during the $20 haulers during the day. But in the evening, when it's 11 p.m. Eastern on, Miss Smitty will only agree that this can go off if it's a $100 hauler, which will be, I know, somewhat rare at times, which is fine. But I'll have a case of bottled waters in here. And if one goes off, I will chug a bottle of water while I fire off the Boss Horn, wake the family up after 11 p.m. Eastern. So here we go. Let me move this away so it's not right in your guys' ear.
And I'm doing mouth water, so I'm ready when you are.
Okay, ready? Let's try this one more time.
Alert.
Go.
Super chat alert. Alert. Super chat alert.
Now, part of why that was a little slower than normal was it was cold. And so my teeth and my brain, what if I keep warm bottled waters over here? I think I could eventually get good at doing one of those crunches where you go, and that will be extra impressive. This is going to get me healthy. This is going to make Smitty great again. Because if I'm drinking water at night.
Can you make McBride great again?
I can make McBride great again. By the way, when I walked out to get that water, I said, "How's that boss horn sounding?" And she said, "Loud." And she's in the living room with two doors closed in between.
What do you think? How much magic you got in you, Smitty? But if you're making things great again, I mean, you're more than welcome to try to make Carolina great again. I'd really appreciate it.
That's impossible.
Can you make Bryce Young great again?
I'll say this about Carolina. I think Carolina has a real strong shot at being good like years from now. I just hope that we have. I hope that we have Bryce Young not ruined by that point. You know what I mean? Because I don't think it's on him. Like I explained the other night, and this pissed off a lot of Niner fans. They definitely let me have it, which is fine. They can be mad. If you took Brock Purdy out of San Francisco, even right now, with as developed as he is, and you plugged him into Carolina, this should make you feel somewhat promising, and there's hope for Bryce Young. Brock wouldn't look any better than Bryce Young. He wouldn't. There's not a lot going on there. So I think maybe if he survives, then you'll be okay. The hard part is you drafted a small quarterback, which I think he could have survived in the right situation, but now he's got to endure just getting beat to death until things get better around him. But you never know, man. Things can turn around quickly. I wouldn't say it's impossible, but I think probably 2024 is out of the question to be like a Detroit Lion type team where it comes out of nowhere. Not this year, but the year prior, or I'm trying to think of a better example. I mean, the Lions last year, we knew they were coming, right? They kind of showed what they were made of, and we knew that this year was going to be the year the Lions were going to be extra special. I think you're not going to have that year this year. Is it possible you have it the next year? It depends on the pieces you put around Bryce Young. Do I think Bryce Young should be written off? No, I really like Bryce Young. I just think that he could get ruined before he ever begins. Because a quarterback can only take 3 years of abuse, and then he starts getting washed. He gets washed out. He doesn't have the confidence anymore. Doesn't have the... That's happened to Trey Lance. I know a lot of people think I missed on Trey Lance hardcore, and I did, technically speaking, but I really believe that if Shanahan used him like they used Brock Purdy, and some would say, well, they didn't use him because they didn't trust him. Well, I don't know. I think Trey Lance had the ability. They just sat on him too long. Like they should have put him in day one, week one, first game. Jimmy Garoppolo should not have held Trey Lance back, and it all unraveled, and it just got worse. Then he got injured, and then it just got worse and worse and worse. If you take somebody in the top 5 of an NFL draft as a quarterback, and you don't have a monster signal caller, which you shouldn't be drafting that quarterback anyway, but you have Jimmy Garoppolo in your lineup, and you're not starting your number 4 or number 3 overall? I forget. You're not... Ziggy, what draft selection was Trey Lance?
According to an Alexa Answers contributor, the quarterback Trey Lance was drafted with the 3rd pick of the first round in the
Ziggy,
2021 NFL.
Ziggy, you could have said, why did you say it so long? Why do you take so long to say it? Third overall pick, You don't take someone 3rd overall and let Jimmy Garoppolo stop you from starting him. So all I'm saying is that he fell apart because of Shanahan, not because of Trey. And we may never see Trey Lance ever be good. You know, he may never be good. He may never be good, and it may never get a shot. And his window closed. And so, you know, maybe he is. There's a small chance, but I don't blame that on Trey. I don't blame that on Trey. I blame that on Shanahan. And I think the whole fan base did. The whole fan base will pretend it doesn't even exist anymore, but the whole fan base hated Shanahan's the way he handled Trey Lance. Anything else, boys? Did Perps drop another one?
Hey, Smitty.
Yeah.
What do you think Stroud would have done in the Carolina situation if they picked him?
Yeah, so I've talked about this before. Hoosiers dropped, don't forget to bring a pillow and blanket to the studio if you do. Okay, I will, Hoosiers. I got a nice comfy chair in here. I think I'd be okay. When the pandemic was here and we all were getting it, I actually slept in here one night, and God, it was hard to sleep in here because the floor. There's, you know, I built the studio onto the house, and it's really nice. It's done very, very nicely. But the there's not a lot of padding. There's carpet. There's a small thin like pad underneath it or whatever, but it is on cement. And it was really hard on my back. So yeah, I probably would sleep in the chair. Maybe I could get a pull down like cot from the wall, you know, like that comes down. Thank you, Hoosier. Appreciate your $5 hauler. And Perps, I think this is a new one. Day positivity is welcome. Bring your brick. No, that one's old. And I think this one's new. Smitty's here. Here's some cash for the 2 cases of 8-ounce Kirkland bottles of water, 80-ounce bottles, or 88-ounce bottles per case, and get those prime hydrations. $20 hauler from Perps. Perps, appreciate you. You get 2 toots now. I at least do 2 toots. I'm not doing 1 toot anymore. That's weak. Anybody that toots once is weak. All right. Hey, anything else, Rock Out? Anything else, Chris?
Hey, Steve, when are you going to be doing the... I'm sorry. I didn't mean to overtalk. You can go ahead.
Oh, yeah. I was asking you about if Stroud was in Carolina.
Oh, yeah. So we've talked about this several times. I've mentioned. I'm not saying you should know that. You're not here for every single waking minute of the show. But I definitely have covered this so many times. If Stroud was in Carolina from the jump, like he's pretty well developed right now. I don't know what would happen, to be honest, if he went over there now. I think he'd be way better than Bryce Young because he's so developed. But that's kind of like saying one of the two was able to get matured and you know, improved, and it's almost like one was able to work out, get fed properly, you know, have good coaching, all that, and the other one didn't. And so if you took Stroud and put him in Carolina now, he would not be Stroud of Houston, but he would be way better than Bryce Young. But if you took Stroud and put him in Carolina from the jump and put Bryce Young in Houston, I'll be honest with you, I don't think we'd see as good of a quarterback. I don't know that we would see a playoff team. I think we would see somebody that looked really promising and was developing pretty good. But I don't think he'd be anything close to what Stroud is. I think Stroud, and sometimes we don't know that. Like, and I'll admit that I wasn't very, very hyped up and super high on Stroud. In some cases, I would say things all the time like I like Bryce Young more, or as a prospect, though. But really quickly, these things evolve differently in the NFL. And, you know, Tom Brady, you couldn't see coming either. Quarterbacks aren't always being telegraphed, you know, to us. We can't, you know, you got to see them fall into the NFL, develop, mature, and sometimes they climb up in weird ways. Sometimes they are predictable. Mahomes was very predictable to me. Josh Allen was very predictable to me. Jalen Hurts was very predictable to me. I definitely love quarterback bold predictions, and I've landed a ton of them. I have not seen a couple coming. That's natural. It's not like you could hit everything. Stroud was one I didn't necessarily see coming fully. Ron loves Stroud in the offseason.
Me too.
Yeah, you liked him. So, and I didn't hate him. I loved. I mean, how much could I really doubt him though? If I loved Tank Dell, I love Tank Dell, so I clearly like Stroud a lot. I just didn't know he would become this good this quick. I don't think anybody did. I don't think even Ron and you who loved him didn't think he'd be this good this quick. So sometimes, it's a right recipe. And Houston was a phenomenal landing spot. But yeah, I mean, Reebok. I don't know what do you Reebok. Sorry, Chris. I keep
it's okay.
mixing
I've been
you.
called worse.
Chris, Reebok's friend, Chris from Vegas. Chris, what do you think of Bryce Young? I know you're in Vegas, but if anybody's confused, he's a Carolina guy.
I was one of the people that wanted to draft Stroud. Why they decided to go Bryce Young, who knows? But I watched Stroud play at Ohio State, so I was a Stroud fan anyway. I wanted them to draft him, but it didn't work out that way. But I believe that Stroud was on the Panthers. He'd be running for his life, just like any other quarterback you want to put back there. The offensive line is Swiss cheese.
Yeah, I agree with you. I will say this too: like if McCaffrey was still there, he'd be broken. He would.
Oh, he'd be injured.
Done.
Something would be wrong.
He'd be done. We would have said goodbye to him this year, like we did Eckler, and so situation is really important. It's not.
That'll be the only thing I'll be happy about if the 49ers win the Super Bowl is just, Wilkes, McCaffrey, those guys. Wish them nothing but the best.
Yeah. I think everybody wants to see Travis Swift and Jackson Mahomes, and it's not even.
I mean,
Kelsey.
Just imagine as a Raiders fan and you're having Chiefs and 49ers painted in your home team's end zone.
Yeah, that's got to be painful. That's got to be real painful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I was just wondering, like, when do you normally do like the 2024 or the upcoming season's bowl predictions?
They drop randomly. Like we already have we have so many of them up. Okay. Have you seen them yet?
That I have not yet. I was going to make them though.
All right, so here are the Saturn men. Are you able to watch the screen or no?
Yeah, I can see.
Okay, so here are the Saturn men.
The Saturn men.
One small step for man, one
We're already full.
leap for Saturn.
We already have all 8. I may add one more. They're all pretty big name guys because Saturn's no joke. These are like the ballers we trust, that are bigger names, but they're, some people might like a lot of other players better than these guys. So like we're just making statements with them. The only like surprise on here, the crazy deep call is the JD5 call because I wanted to have some splash on the list. And AR5 is a little bit out of pocket too, considering where these other guys' ADPs are. But this is the Saturn men. Then as we get down, Mars men and Moon men, there'll be a little bit more swings, if you will. So here's the Mars men so far.
He's on a shuttle.
We got McBride,
Mars
Trey McBride, CJ Stroud, and Drake London. And the Moon men so far, which will be bigger reaches.
The Moon men.
Brock Bowers and Tajay Spears.
In outer space.
So those are the Moon men, Saturn men, and Mars men so far. They just drop whenever I get the call from the mountaintops, and I'm told to come up and get the premonition. And then I come back down in a robe and I chisel away on a piece of stone and I bring it in to the live stream.
And I've been trying to catch all the the streams that I can lately, and I was just curious because I hadn't seen one yet with you and Ron Navy kind of going at it about how he feels about his team. I believe they have either hired or are going to hire Arthur Smith.
Yeah, they have. Go watch last night's show. That's all you need to locate.
Okay. Will do. That one I didn't catch yet because I caught you live today. So
yeah,
I'll definitely go back.
That news broke yesterday, so we broke it yesterday. Go watch last night's show.
Okay.
I think that was was it the 8 p.m. show, Rockout, that happened on? Or was it the... Yeah, it was I think it was the 8 p.m. show, right?
Yeah, I think so.
So not the last show. The last show was a emergency Drake London show.
Okay.
It was the one before that. I think it was Jahmyr Gibbs.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll do.
All right, boys. I'll see you later on the Dynasty channel. I'll be live on the Dynasty channel.
All right, Steve.
Tell Reebok to get on the streams. We miss him on the channel. And Chris, also, if you don't, do you know about the Dynasty channel? It's in the description of the. Actually, the links in the description is wrong. It's youtube.com/Dynasty Fantasy Football. I could put it in the live chat right now too, but make sure you're subscribed to that channel.
Okay.
It's a totally different channel. Here it is. I'm gonna put the link in the live chat right now, and I'll pin it. So make sure you subscribe. We'll see you tonight. Later.
All right, brother.
951 caller, you're live. Real briefly, I got a roll. What can I do for you?
Hi, Smitty. I just want you to allude on why it is coaches, not coaches, but why teams and organizations keep on hiring defense head coaches when in the past the rules are set up for offense. The kids coming out of college are set up for offense, and why it is that despite that, they keep on hiring.
Yeah. What was your name and where you calling from, bro?
My name is Bob from the West Coast. I've changed my name a couple times. You called me out on it, but it is what it is.
Okay, no worries. Bob from what state?
Cali.
Cali, okay. Well, we'll leave you as Bob from Cali. Is that cool? Now,
totally fine.
Now we don't know. We don't know what it was. We'll give you a clean slate, bro. Okay, I think to answer your question, there's no hard rule that says that you can't have a good team with a defensive head coach. Is it harder to, or is it does it fail from time to time? I understand why someone might feel that way, but I mean the way I look at it, bro. Look at D'Amico in Houston. And look how successful that is. You got Slowick there. You got D'Amico. It's almost like the way I talk about Zach Robinson. Go watch that Bijan Robinson video when we broke Zach Robinson going from the Rams to the Falcons as from quarterback coordinator to OC. And you really look at the package, the entire package. I think Zach Robinson and Raheem Morris together are better than any one coach that was on the board the entire offseason. I think that combo is what's special. If it was Raheem Morris only, I love who he is. I love what he represents. I love how much the players love him. I love how much the coaching staff loves him. I love how much the organization loves him. I love how much all the other, the whole NFL loves him. And players that have coached with him. And Kyle Shanahan, for everybody in here loves Kyle Shanahan and the Niners, Kyle Shanahan just went on record saying that he was always begging his dad to hire Raheem Morris, and he's an amazing coach, and he's going to do a fantastic job. And people that start painting pictures about him because of the Bucs situation that he failed at don't know who he is at all. They're just talking out their rear end. And so Kyle Shanahan said they was always trying to get his dad to hire him, and that when he worked with him and they needed a wide receiver coach, he converted over to a wide receiver coach, and and Shanahan said he smashed it out of the park. And so this guy knows offense. He's dealt with offense. He's coached offense. He's got a good offensive mind, but he is a defensive guy, and he's going to bring that Rams defense mentality to the situation. And what does he go and do? He goes and gets his counterpart in LA, and they bring almost the entire LA situation minus McVay over. It's like shedding skin. It's everything's there. It looks the same. It is the same. McVay's still gonna replicate what he's got, but this entire thing just slipped out from under him, and now it's the Atlanta Rams. And this formula is perfect. Now, are there scenarios where, let's say, Dan Quinn, who I believe will be a shoo-in for Washington if he hasn't been hired while we've been live, had his second interview? That smells to me, with all the little options left, with Vrabel out, Belichick out, Monken not even mentioned. Dan Quinn's as good as, locked into the Washington head coach job, right? Has anybody seen anything that's broke since I've been live on it or something? But Dan Quinn, if Dan Quinn goes to become the head coach of the Washington Commanders, then the offense isn't going to fall on him, you know? And I know what you're saying, but you're only as good as your offensive coordinator when you're in that situation. So look at Slowick in Houston. You got D'Amico. He's a player's coach. He's an amazing coach. Everybody loves him. He knows how to organize and excite a bunch of dudes on the team and the players and the fans and the fan base and the organization in general. And that's what you want. That's all that really matters. Do you need it to be an offensive mind? No. And is it really even that different? Sirianni, what's Sirianni? You know, it was all Shane Steichen, offensive coordinator guru, who turned Hurts into a monster, goes over to Indy, and that's where Steichen is now, and he's developing AR5. And so what good is a coach? Sirianni's no better than a Raheem Morris. You know, Sirianni still needs his offensive coordinator, and he brought in Kellen Moore. That's a great fit. That is as important for a Sirianni, thought to be an offensive mind coach. Morris is just as good if he's paired with Zach Robinson. So, bro, it's all about the trio. It's all about the entire tree. You know, offensive coordinator, defensive head coach, or offensive head coach, or something in between. I don't think it's smart to assume that it's not going to work. And I think the fact that we're seeing recipes and formulas for it working, you just got to replicate it. You got to make sure you really have a great offensive coordinator. Because then the way I look at it, and this is the last point I'll say, and you can tell me your thoughts. I look at Zach Robinson, offensive coordinator in Atlanta, who was the QB coordinator in LA, and Raheem Morris used to be the DC in LA, now the head coach. I look at this package of Zach Robinson and Raheem Morris as better than any one of the head coaching candidates, including Harbaugh, that were on the board. If unless Harbaugh brought in an OC too, but I'm just saying the package deal here is better. These two guys are better than any one single coach that was available. That's my take anyway.
I don't know. I just feel like Texas, they already had key players, particularly the offensive line, already in play. So they just drafted a QB, then they drafted some second round, third round wide receivers, and they're good to go. With these other franchises who have a history of doing like what the Chargers do, which is basically just chargering it up and not having like a solid all-around unit with like a one goal, they have a tendency to just, flail out and not get to the finish line. In the past, there's been a lot of defensive coaches that have taken the teams all the way, but they had competent QBs, particularly high IQ QBs who could make the plays, make the throws, do the 2-minute drills and whatnot, and deliver. A lot of teams in the league right now, they have defensive coaches, and they're kind of underperforming in comparison.
I know what you're saying, but like I'm saying, if the formula is followed properly and you get the right OC can oftentimes be your coach, bro. Like when your offensive mind, you know what I mean? Like if your defensive, think about it, Raheem Morris is not going to control the offense, right? So you're really only going to be as good as your OC. Your defense could obviously carry you and you could have an amazing defense, but so you got to look at it that way. How much do you love your OC? Mike McDaniel was an amazing mind. And if, let's say, he was in control of that Niner offense and Shanahan stepped back from everything, it would still have thrived. Because Miami, Mike McDaniel was he was the true architect of Deebo Samuel's wide back role. There's a lot of talk about how, much involved he was. I truly believe that you're only as good as your OC. You're correct in that there's a risk to it if you don't fill both the spots properly, but I'm just telling you, I'm not scared of it at all. It doesn't bother me one single bit because I love these offensive coordinator choices, man. I think in a lot of these cases it's going to be
I appreciate you picking up the phone and taking my call.
Right. Are you Bob from the YouTube chat?
Yes, sir.
You're the one that just says Bob?
Yes, sir.
All right, Bob. Appreciate you. Bob from Cali. Later, bro.
Later.
All right, I'm out of here. Appreciate every single one of you. And Bob's not wrong. Like one of those defensive coordinator, head coaching situations could fumble and be botched. Absolutely. All right. Thanks to everybody. I'll see you on the Dynasty channel tonight. That link is pinned in the live chat. Please subscribe to the Dynasty channel. I'll see you all later. Congrats to this guy that's a Mars man. We knew he was a Mars man. We already did this, but we had to redo it because this entire show kicked off with why he's at tight end 80 overall. 80 overall on ADP data on Underdog Fantasy promo code Smitty. Make sure you hit that link and start drafting now. You can draft 2024 now. And for whatever freaking reason, this man is sitting at 80 overall. And he's sitting as tight end 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, tight end number 6 to 7. It doesn't make any sense, and it's time to clean up and do something about it. See you all tonight. Thank you, Perps. Thank you, everybody that dropped super chats tonight. Perps was an absolute boss. Boss Horn Deckard, Space Ricky, Young, Deckard again, Perps, Spacula, Hob G dropped gifted memberships. Superfish dropped gifted memberships. Perps dropped gifted memberships. If I'm forgetting anybody else that dropped gifted memberships, I very much apologize. Superfish, a super chat. Perps, Hoosiers, Perps. Appreciate all those. I'll see you all tonight on the Dynasty stream. YouTube.com/Dynasty Fantasy Football will also be on Rumble, I believe, later. Deuces.
Revenge tour.